my life changed in 1962 after many years of fighting the demons. My wife was, I think, born a Christian. Her family were very religious all through her life. And she, as the girls came along, she would always take them to church. You know, they go to church every Sunday. And they kept trying to get me to go. Well, I'd never been to church to be inside of church. Now, I'd been to church outside, but I was there to see if I could find me a girlfriend or somebody to walk home with. Or we didn't have any cars, but you could walk a girl home from church. Of course, she had to walk too. They didn't have any cars either. But they kept after me, and of course, as the girls got older, and back in our day at Easter time were very special days. And most families, if they had girls, or even the boys, they'd buy them new suits, new shoes, and many of the boys had to wear hats back at that time. And the girls all had to wear bonnets. That was part of the dress. So my wife, at Easter time, she'd go out and she'd buy the girls new dresses, new socks, and new hat, and new everything, new little purses. I resented that. Why would you do that for one day? You know, I just resented it. But we got along, and we never fussed with each other. Just, you know, adjust to it. So, but they kept after me, and the girls began coaxing me. Come on, Daddy, come go to church with us. I'll paint a room before I go to church, and I hate painting, but I'm not going to go. I'll find some reason I couldn't go. But we're coming up to Easter time, 1962. The girls looked like, I didn't know what an angel looked like, but I'd heard of angels, and they looked like angels. They were dressed in little pink outfits, just beautiful, you know. Even though they were mine, I thought they were the most beautiful kids I'd ever seen in my life. And Daddy, you got to go to church with us. Okay, I'll go. Well, the church was only about a half a mile away. So we got in the car, drove up there. I'm proud of the peacock of those little girls, because they were beautiful, I thought. So, but I made my plan on the way. I'm going to sit in the back. And if I have to, I can get out of there. So I walked in. First, you know, in a Methodist church, the back row is always the one that fills up first. Nobody ever sits on the front seat. We got a front row pew in a church over here that's never been used, because nobody will sit on it. But the back rows fill in first, and the pews on the right as we walked in. I remember 3 of them were filled. The 4th one was empty. So I put the girls and my wife in first. I'm sitting on the aisle. If I have to get out of here, I've got an escape plan already made out. I don't know what I planned to escape from, but I was going to get out of there if things got a little warmer or whatever. And we had a preacher at that time, 6'6", wore a 13 shoe. His hands were huge, very gentle giant, if you would. His name was Chenoweth. I'll never forget him. This being Easter, naturally he's speaking about the crucifixion, Christ being crucified. And it seemed to me like every time I didn't watch him much, but every time I looked up, I thought he was looking at me. And I'd look away. I really didn't understand what the man was talking about. But he was very emphatic, very forceful. And every time I'd look up, there he was, I thought, looking at me. He got to the point where he was talking about Christ sacrificing his life so we could have some understanding of God, of heaven, that type of thinking. And here again, he's, I think, talking strictly to me and not to anybody else. Then he made the statement, and I'll never forget this. And he used his big long finger, and of course, as I said, he was 6'6". He was a big man. He said, "You help nail him to the cross." And I'll swear he pointed at me. And he made that sacrifice just for you. And that got me. These two individuals. Had they lived, I probably would not have. But that hit me, and then I thought, anybody who would sacrifice their life for you means something. I had no more power over my body than if you'd had me tranquilized. I got up out of that seat right in the middle of his sermon. And he had reached a point, after having talked about the sacrifice, you helped nail him to the cross, and his big old fist emphasizing the pounding of the nails. And of course it was cracking like I thought a shotgun. I had no more control over what I was doing than the man in the moon. I just got up, walked up all the way to the front. Of course, he's up on the dais behind the pulpit, plus his height, and I'm standing there looking up at him. And he stopped his sermon and looked down at me, and he said, "Is there something I can do for you?" Or words to that effect. I'm not sure of his exact words now. If I ever knew them, I've forgotten them. But anyway, my response to him was, "Would you pray with me?" Well, he just walked down. We kneeled at the rail, and I walked out of there a totally different person than when I walked in. Just my life changed, absolutely. I was never bad about drinking. I would drink socially. I was smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Pell-mell, the cowboy cigarettes, filtered but big long ones, Had to have the big long ones because there's more to it. Never smoked another cigarette, never took another drink of alcohol. Just absolutely went away. Of course, my wife was absolutely ecstatic, yet shocked. It is amazing. Just a miracle. You can't do it. You can't classify it any other way than miracles still happen. When I was going into the Marine Corps, I was filling out my enlistment application. And one of the blocks on there said religion. And the recruiting sergeant had emphasized every block on this form must be completed or it will not be accepted. So be sure every block is done. Okay, it's the form that you use to say who gets your $10,000 life insurance in case you get killed and who's your next of kin and that type thing, But that one block of religion had me snowed. I didn't know what to put in there. I didn't have any. I'd never heard of Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Methodist, or Baptist, or any of these people. Those names, I've never heard of them. So I didn't know what to put in there. And so I'm standing by a little Italian boy. I'm 5'6", he was 5'4". And he was next in line to give his paper to the recruiting sergeant. And I wondered, what's he got in his form? What did he put in that block? Well, I leaned over and looked at it. All I could see was the letter C. Well, I still had my little pencil in my hand that I'd used to fill out my paper with. So I just put the letter C in there. That made all the blocks complete. I had no idea what it meant, but I learned, well, after I got to boot camp, I was a Catholic. And I had to go to Mass. Couldn't understand a word anybody said. But I went to Mass. Anyway, on Sunday morning, everybody had to go to church on Sunday morning back in those days. If you were a Methodist, and on your dog tag, they would put the letter P for Protestant and C for Catholic and J for Jew. So mine had a C on it in my dog tag. So I was a Catholic, didn't know it. But if I'd have been killed, I'd have got the last rites, whether I wanted them or not. I have said many times, I wonder what my mother would have thought if some Catholic priest had walked up to her house way out there in the country and say, I'm here to pray for you because your son is in purgatory someplace.